Hello and welcome to Adventures in Visibility. Today we are going to be taking a journey and learning more about LinkedIn, the powerful B2B networking tool. I'm Denise Wakeman, your host and guide to better visibility on the web, and I am thrilled today to welcome my friend and colleague, Viveka von Rosen.
Hello!
We've known each other for a few years now. We've collaborated in the past, but this is her first appearance on Adventures in Visibility, so I'm really excited about that. And also, I have the good fortune, this was really exciting when I found out about this, Viveka's speaking at Social Media Marketing World in 2 weeks in San Diego, and I'm going to be introducing her and her presentation.
So cool.
And that's really exciting because I'd love to be able to introduce people and really showcase them, and that's one of the reasons why we're here. Now, LinkedIn is, I don't know, it seemed like it was kind of under the radar for a while, and then all of a sudden it's blown up again, and I feel like it's gotten really hot again. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to explore visibility strategies for entrepreneurs on how to use LinkedIn better, and welcome, Viveka.
Hey, thank you so much. And I was so excited to find out you were introducing me, because then I could take pictures of other people's LinkedIn groups other than just my own and Social Media Marketing World. So that was so cool. I'm like, oh, good. Screenshot. So no, I'm so excited. Yeah, anything that allows us to hang out more is a cool thing.
Absolutely. Now, what's your presentation going to be at Social Media Marketing World? I meant to make a note of it and I forgot.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be on groups. So it's going to be on creating your own groups, not so much interaction in groups, because I figure most people have got that down. If not, we can talk about it today. But if you have your own group, how do you market it? How do you position it? How do you get people over to it? How do you encourage discussions? So all the stuff about, or should you even have a group? All the things that you should do when you, or if you decide to have a group on LinkedIn. So that'll be the talk.
Perfect. Well, I think groups are one of the most powerful pieces or benefits of being on LinkedIn is having your own group. So anyway, we'll get to that. So I wanted to start off by finding out, about how you initially got hooked into LinkedIn, because you've been on LinkedIn for a long time. You've been training and consulting and speaking about LinkedIn for I don't know how long, but as long as I've known you, you were always the LinkedIn gal, the LinkedIn expert. So what hooked you into it initially, and when did you start?
Yeah, it was a little over 8 years ago, and I was running a business center. It's kind of ironic. I was in Atlanta last week speaking at an inbound event, and it was held in a virtual office, and I felt like, oh my God, this is and it was actually with MLT Creative, which was one of the first creative agencies to work with me. So that was kind of cool too. So anyway, so I was 8 years ago running a business center, virtual officing suites or business centers, and I was really bad at it. I'm really good at marketing and at networking and at people and engagement. I'm really bad at managing, and so and that was obviously a big part of the gig. But one of the things that I decided I would do, because I was good at it, was hold these like little weekly meetups, which back then everything was face-to-face because we really didn't have a virtual world yet. Social really wasn't a part of anything yet. So we had these little face-to-face meetings once a week, and I brought in a friend of mine to talk about Web 2.0 and what a big deal it was. So that tells you how long ago it was. And this whole idea of the interactive web was such like an amazing thing. And it wasn't even that we were into the customer service or the buyer feedback part of it. This was like literally someone could comment on your website. So that was humongous. And at the end of the presentation, she mentioned something called LinkedIn. And I just thought, with I think it was 7 million members at that point, 12 million by the time I was actually active on it. But I thought at the time, ooh, 7 million members. Like, look what I've done with my business in a year with just 100 and 130,000 people in our little city. Like, imagine what I could do with 7 million people. And now, of course, we're talking billions when we talk Facebook, right? Like, I don't even know how many zeros that is. But I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, so I started learning as much as I could about LinkedIn. Not many people, well, I think Jason Alba's book was the only one available.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to Jason, and he so graciously became a mentor for me. And I started just teaching LinkedIn locally, and the association that we were a part of, ABCN, um, Business Centers Network, American Business Centers Network. I think that was it. Invited me to come speak at one of their events. So my first speaking gig, like in 20 years, was in front of at the Waldorf Astoria Ballroom in New York City, in front of a bunch of billionaires. Like, I've never had that net worth in an audience since then.
Wow.
I know, it was crazy. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then, and then Facebook became available to the public, and people started using it as a business tool. And that's when Mari and I started our kind of relationship, and we did some things. Mari Smith. We started doing some things together, and then Twitter started, and Bob Berg, I actually reached out to Bob Berg, and he was so gracious, and he became a mentor as well. I mean, I was so fortunate early on to have all these amazing mentors. I found a company in Denver that was teaching and training on LinkedIn. I brought them into my hometown and started a relationship with them, and so it really just in a very short time exploded. Thank goodness, because it meant I could quit my day job. Thank God.
Always a good thing. Always a good thing, right?
Always
For
a good thing.
entrepreneurial types, yeah.
Exactly. So that's a long way of giving you a short story, but that's how I got started on LinkedIn.
Well, I think that there were some really good points that you made that I hope that people heard, because it's really about you were networking to learn more about the network.
Yeah.
You were reaching out and asking people for help, which is a big part of belonging to any kind of networking
So huge.
System, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, finding a mentor or a mentoring group, there's so many, especially I think even more so, even though I'm talking about LinkedIn groups and its marketing world, I think in Facebook and Google communities, they're very, very vibrant. And so finding a group that is very interactive and vibrant and engaging. LinkedIn's not so great at supporting the engagement piece within period. So finding things like, I mean, here's the thing, here's the truth of the matter, and it's kind of ironic that I'm doing a talk on LinkedIn groups. My G Plus community, which I was actually able to name LinkedIn, like on my LinkedIn group, I can't actually name it LinkedIn. So my G Plus community has quadrupled in growth in a tenth of the time, and it's so engaged, and people are a lot of my competitors actually, but what the heck, we're all friends, are in there, and we're all sharing content and information and being a support system for each other. And someone will get the new user interface, and the other person will get a message from LinkedIn, and we all share it, so we have access to it. And it's that kind of activity that's almost like a group mentoring you, right? So whether you have an individual mentor, which is such an important thing, or a group mentoring platform, it's so powerful in an entrepreneur's life and a business person's life.
Couldn't agree more. Now, since you do have an active group on LinkedIn, on Google Plus, where are we? We're on Google Plus.
Wherever.
Right now, we are on Google Plus. So, what is the name of your group? So, anybody who's participating here can go and join it. It's an open room, right? It's an open group.
It's an open group, yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, we because there's a lot of spammers out there, so you have to apply for it, but we'll accept you. It's LinkedIn Experts.
Okay.
Literally,
perfect.
LinkedIn Experts.
So just go to the community search and type in LinkedIn Experts and apply for Viveka's community. I think I'm in there, and I don't think I've participated.
I think you are in there, yeah.
If you ever
need
so many groups.
there. I know. I know, between my Facebook like mastermind groups and my own LinkedIn groups and my G Plus communities, I'm like, it's time to work.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at some tips for
Yeah,
how entrepreneurs, because that's the audience here is entrepreneurs. It's not necessarily job seekers, although maybe
right.
some are seeking jobs, but we're talking about
We're
people
all
who
looking
have
for a
their own
job here and there.
business. Right. We're all looking for, the job, whether it's a
Yeah,
job with a client or customer. So it's it's not a secret that your profile is one of the most important pieces. And it's funny because people always complain. I saw this the other day that when there's the top 10 things to do to be effective on LinkedIn or
yeah,
Facebook or Twitter or whatever, complete your profile.
yeah.
And somebody said, like, if you have
Wow.
to tell them that, then they shouldn't even be on the platform. It's like, but some people need some help. So
Yes.
what would you say is the most important thing we need to pay attention to on our profile? Because I know there's some
Yeah.
people who want to know this information from you today.
Sure. And I want to address something too. It's so funny because to me, LinkedIn's a B2B communications social network. I mean,
Hmm.
even though I work with job seekers, sometimes I forget that that is still how people think of LinkedIn, right? Because
Hmm.
it's like how do you use LinkedIn besides for job seeking is usually the question I get, and it's so funny because to me I'm like, oh, right, you can use it for job seeking too. So so let's just know that LinkedIn is way more than just a job seeking site. Yes, so there are two aspects to your profile first, and then we'll talk about actual engagement and tools and things
Hmm.
like that. But the two avenues are what LinkedIn sees and then what the human eye sees. And so you have to satisfy both of those to increase your visibility. So let's talk about what LinkedIn sees. LinkedIn is very similar to Google in that you have to have the right keywords in the right places. Unlike Google, it's way easier to do it on LinkedIn. So, first of all, well, actually, let's like back up even more. To be visible on LinkedIn, you have to know why you want to be on LinkedIn. Because everyone else is not a good answer. So have it like I want it for to increase my visibility. I want it for thought leader positioning. That's mainly how I use it. I want it for lead generation. I want it for business development. Kind of the same thing. I need it, for branding, and it can be all of the above, but at least have a priority. And before that, like know why you're using LinkedIn, then know what you do and who you serve. It's so important to have an audience. I was just recently at a conference with Ardith Albee, and she does such a great job on creating that purchaser persona or that buyer persona, and it's so important for you to know who you are serving so that you can adjust your LinkedIn profile accordingly. So that being said, know your keywords, know your audience, know what they're searching for on LinkedIn, know what they're searching for on Google, because LinkedIn actually shows up on Google as well. And then you want to not stuff and shove and cramp and bloat your LinkedIn profile with keywords, which is what some people do. But as you're creating the copy for your LinkedIn profile, just naturally bake them in where it makes sense. And if you're going to repurpose, your blog about us copy, or if you're going to repurpose some other social media copy that you've already created, just make sure that those keywords, those LinkedIn specific and LinkedIn audience specific keywords are baked in there as well. And really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Keywords in your professional headline, keywords in your title, keywords in the description sections for your education, keywords in your summary section, really important. Keywords in your interests, because they're way down at the bottom, and you can just list a whole bunch of them down there, and you can put, misspellings of your name and your location and your mentors and
Hmm.
people you would like to be associated with. You can cram all of that down at the bottom, but throughout the rest of your profile, just very very strategically, but also only where it fits, add those keywords. One thing, if you've got a premium account, which most of the people on this call won't have that, but if you do have a premium account, LinkedIn actually has a keyword tool for the summary section, and I would say any keywords that it suggests there, go ahead and sprinkle them throughout the rest of your profile too. What we've discovered with LinkedIn's new-ish analytics is that it's going to your copy, it's going to the descriptions in your experience in your summary section to look and find those keywords. It's not doing titles so much, it's not doing summary sections so much, it's really looking at that content. And so, you know, take the time to add that to your content. So that's about getting visibility through the algorithms and stuff on LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Right? The other avenue is make it pretty. So like your website, like your blog, like your, I love your lower third. I mean, I gotta make a prettier lower third here on my Google Hangouts. You want to make your profile pretty. Yeah, there, look at that. Oh, no, it's you can't see, I'm pointing. There. Look down. Such a nice lower third. Anyway, so LinkedIn has things like hero images now, which is almost like a banner on your personal profile. And I'm shocked that a lot of people haven't even done anything with that yet. Any of you who have books, like again at the conference we were at, you know, Mark Schaefer had his books lined up. I think Ardith had a professional headline with her books lined up, so it looked really professional. And it's like, hey, I'm an author. You know, other people have got me. I've got something that looks it's very branded to my website with my contact information on it. So make it pretty. It's free. Why wouldn't you use it? It's 1,400 by 425 characters. If you're graphically impaired like I am, you could do something on Canva. You can reach out to your friend.
Canva.
Yeah, Canva. Love Canva. I'm like so seriously graphically impaired. Like
yeah, me too.
If there's something good, I will make it worse. I mean, I'm just so
and that's why I love Canva, is that they make me look good.
Exactly. Canva will make you look good. That should be their tagline.
Yeah,
if it's not.
exactly. That's a good one.
Yeah, let's reach out. Yeah, Guy's there. Right? Is the guy still there? Guy Kawasaki?
Yeah, he's still their evangelist. Yep.
He's their evangelist. Okay, we should reach out. So anyway, you can upload media. So you can upload your SlideShare or your PowerPoint presentations. You can upload your portfolios. You can upload JPEGs and images. You can upload things that prove that you are what you say you are. You know, that's the thing about being digital and online. Anyone can say anything about themselves. I noticed the other day someone wrote a book called Twitter Power, and Joel Comm wrote that book like 100 years ago. And now it's showing up in searches, right? So anyone can say anything about themselves. You've got to prove it's true. And media, the ability to upload media on your LinkedIn profile does that. So you really want to take advantage of the ability to create this visual presence. And then LinkedIn has Publisher, which, you know, two birds, one stone. Not only does Publisher look really nice on your LinkedIn profile, but it is the only content above and beyond your profile that is searchable by keywords. So unfortunately, updates are no longer searchable by keywords. The group searches, it drives me up a wall. There's really not a lot of content that's searchable by keyword, but publications are. So you've got this gorgeous picture. LinkedIn really focuses on that. You've got this great content where you can add more video and more pictures and more visuals, and now you've got a much more visually appealing profile. And then finally, and then I'll let you speak.
All right, go ahead.
You get me on a roll, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
That's great.
Finally, when it comes to the actual copy that you're writing, if you do it in a Word document first, you can add some minor formatting, but at least a little bit of formatting, so it's just not a clump of words. You can add extra spaces, break up those paragraphs, add bullets. That's pretty much it. Plus it checks for spelling errors and grammatical errors in Word, and then you just copy and paste it over, and in most cases it holds that formatting. So those are ways that you can make your LinkedIn profile more visually appealing. So when people land on it, they're not going to go and leave. So you need both parts of that.
Okay, we're looking for some clarification for Joe. by hero image, does Viveka mean the background or is something in premium accounts?
No, and Joe, actually, it depends where you're from, but I think everyone in the US has access to the new hero image. So when you go into your profile, and actually you don't have to put it in edit mode anyway because you're in constant edit mode. Above that kind of profile block, which has your picture and your name and your professional headline, there's now a blue empty space, just kind of like a blue space which you can fill. And so you literally, that's the hero image area. 1400 by 425 characters, and you can upload an image and you can do a little bit of adjusting where it is. It's kind of, when you upload your image, the middle part will be taken by your actual profile, so don't put anything important like phone numbers or anything in there. But the outer edges are visible. The top edge you want to drop down a little bit. I need to redo mine actually because now LinkedIn's got a bunch of ads and stuff up there. But it at least gives you something that separates from everybody else. So the hero image is available to, or will soon be available to everyone for free. It used to be, when it was first introduced, the premium members got it first, but a lot of my clients who have free profiles have access to it. I do know in some European countries it's not fully available yet, but it's coming.
Okay, yeah. A lot of this is relatively new too, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
the hero image has been around for a little while because, I keep my ears and eyes peeled for those things and implement them immediately.
Yeah.
And then but a lot of people don't. So now, put your hero image up. But the other thing that is pretty new that I noticed, what you were talking about is adding rich media to your profile. And it's not that obvious, really.
No.
I mean,
No.
I didn't think it was that obvious. I had to kind of look around for it. But you can add videos and pictures, and you said documents as well, and slide share. So,
and YouTube. Oh,
yeah,
you said
YouTube.
video.
I when I saw that was available, I immediately, I've got some kind of evergreen, like who am I, what do I do videos. I immediately put those up, and they're good size, and they're, when you're scrolling down someone's profile, checking them out, they stand out, they jump out. And you can also, what I thought was interesting, that you could align them with your different positions. So if you have one or more jobs or hats that you're wearing, you can align them with those positions. So when was that introduced, and what kind of results are you seeing or hearing about from that, from the rich media?
I'm a big fan. A little over a year ago, I think it was maybe February of 2014. Okay, so here's the thing. LinkedIn's changing them again, and they're even more difficult to upload now, and they're trying to make it easier, but it's actually more difficult. So if you can find, if they have there's like a little box with a stick in it. So if you can find that, that's the media upload. I know, I'm not entirely sure what that's meant to be symbolic of, but if you can find that little box with the blue line or the stick in it, that's your media box. Once you click on that, you'll have the option of either adding a link. SlideShare works great. SlideShare links and YouTube links work well. Vimeo, I've actually been able to upload a Vimeo link before, but not recently. So I don't know. Give it a try. Here's the thing. At first, it probably won't work. You just hit refresh 3 times. It's really glitchy. But after you hit refresh, it'll take. So that's the first thing.
There's the trick, folks.
There's the trick.
If it doesn't take the first time, you hit refresh 3 times. It's really high tech.
Exactly. Now, some people, not me, but some people are getting a row. If you go to your summary section or your experience section or your education, you're getting a row at the bottom that says like upload video, upload document, upload. So you're getting these 5 different options, which is nice, but they don't seem to work for everyone. So you might have that. That's more obvious. Give it a try. Again, if it doesn't work the first time, just hit enter a few times. And if that doesn't work, because and you don't even have that media upload button anymore, and you don't have those little widgets at the bottom, what you can do is go back up to the summary section, because the little media upload button's almost always there. Actually, I haven't seen it not be there yet. So that little media upload button, click on that, and then after you add the media, you'll have a chance to say where you want to put it. So that's when you then go through that list of experience titles that you have and do exactly what you said, Denise. You can port them into different experience sections. So for me, what I did, and I love what you did, what I did was I've got, the most important things up in my summary. And by the way, the one that you put in first sticks. So that's going to be the first two are at the top, and then there's 3 underneath that, and then anything else you put in there just kind of loads and loads and loads. But people are only going to see the first 5. And so just know that. Don't put your sucky one up first. Put that one up last. And if your
don't
best
put up
one,
a sucky one, I would say.
Yeah, don't put up a sucky one, period. And then unfortunately what happens is if you you get interviewed by CNN and you're like, oh my God, I got to put that up, and you've got some old interview from 3 years ago, wouldn't it be nice if you could just replace the links? But no, you actually have to delete and then re-add. So it's really a pain in the butt. I'm hoping at some point LinkedIn just allows you to drag and drop in the order you want. Imagine that'll come, but for right now it's delete everything and then upload it in the order you want, which is a pain. One of the things I did as a speaker, so I've got my official business is first, linkedintobusiness.com, and then I have LinkedIn to Business keynote speaker, and so I've got a speaker's reel and a speaker's introduction there, and it talks about what I do as a speaker. And then I have one for my book, and then it has the links to some interviews about my book, plus a link that people can click on. It'll take you to the Amazon so they can buy it. And then I've got a SlideShare page that I add some upload slides to and then add them there. And then I've got a YouTube page. So all of those are listed as experience, and that allows me to upload even more media, which again differentiates my profile from maybe some of the other ones out there.
Okay, so everybody has to go and study Viveka's profile.
Yes.
Well, that's the way we learn how to do it. We go to the experts and say, well, what are they doing? Okay, now how can I model that so that it works for my business too? So I want to ask you a little bit about how you can connect with people, because that also is a visibility tactic, is actually reaching out and connecting with people. But so many people do it so spammy.
Oh gosh, so bad.
I get so many private messages that is just pure spam, and I'm why would I want this? And whatever. So what are your tips for connecting so that people notice you and don't think you're a spammer?
Right, exactly. And I know you've all heard this ad nauseum, but share helpful, useful, interesting information. And here's the thing, it doesn't even necessarily have to be your own. So for instance, today, my friend John White wrote a really good article on SWAM, Site-Wide Auto Moderation, which is the tool, the ill-functioning tool, in my humble opinion, that if one person says they didn't like your post in a group, all of your posts in all of your group ad infinitum are now put in the moderation queue, i.e. not really seen anymore. So he wrote a really great article on SWAM, and I was going to, and I never got around to it. So I'm doing a couple things with that article. First of all, I asked him if I could put it on my blog. But secondly, of course, I shared it as an update, because my audience should be interested in that. I know they're interested because I repeatedly get questions in my help section. So I've shared that as helpful, useful information as an update, which is like a tweet, like a Facebook post, a little bit spaghetti on the wall, but it's out there at least. And then another thing I'll do is I have a very specific group of targeted individuals. And on LinkedIn, you can do something called tagging, which is a little bit like reading Facebook lists. And so I've tagged my hot prospects in different industries or different locations or different job functions. And so what I'll do is I'll go in, and my tagged grouping, or my tagged segment of first level connections, I'll go in, and the ones that this makes sense, this article, I'll say, hey, my good friend John White just wrote this article. I think you should read it. It's really important. I'll share John's article, done him a favor, done my clients a favor. And hey, I've just been helpful and useful, even though it wasn't actually my own content.
Right.
So the sharing, either in a very strategic way, like going through my entire network and tagging them accordingly, and then sharing helpful, useful information, it helps me stay top of mind. So that when occasionally I say, hey, I've got a webinar you might be interested, or even, pipeline's a little empty right now, do you have any folks you could refer to me? But I'm buying them a drink first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem is people go in there, like go into LinkedIn and expect to take you home.
Yeah.
It's like, butter me up here. Say hi first before you throw your sales pitch at me ad nauseum. So that's the main thing, is no matter what channel you use, whether it's updates or messages, which are private, or even introductions or even invitations to connect, try to stay in that helpful, useful mind frame. And the 80-20 rule is, 80% helpful, useful content, 20% you can be a little bit more sales pitchy, but you don't lead with the sales pitch.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn has, for $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, depending on the size of your business, LinkedIn does have the ability, they're now called sponsored in-mails, to spam you. I don't get it. I don't get why LinkedIn would allow this, but they actually have the ability to send spam to your targeted markets. And it's expensive. I can't imagine that it works. I mean, I certainly would never click on those things. But, LinkedIn needs to make its money too. So, if you're gonna reach out to people you don't know, whether it's through an invitation to connect or a message or an introduction is another great tool, just try to think of the win-win, like what's in it for them. Focus on what's in it for them, and know that eventually it will feed you as well. But you really want to focus on what's in it for them in the long run and in the short term as well. Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting because your advice goes across all platforms, really.
Absolutely.
And yet, we need to say it because for some reason people seem to think that on LinkedIn you can, send business proposals and stuff like that to people they don't know. I mean, I'll post them in my group where people have raised their hand and said, I want to be in your group. So I use the message function in that way to say I've got to hang out with a LinkedIn expert or, something like that.
Yeah.
But, anyway, let's move on here.
I agree. And here's my other pet peeve. Oh my God, this drives me up a wall. Just because I agreed to connect with you does not mean I said, "Ooh, put me on your newsletter list, please."
Thank you very much.
Oh my God. And it's funny, my friend Kurt, who's also a LinkedIn expert, he's like, well, there's kind of an implied consent. And now his stuff is really good, so I don't mind being on Kurt's list. But no, the crap I get because I connected to people on LinkedIn who just put me on their email list, I immediately delete. I block them from or I block myself from their profile, which I just, oh my God, that just drives me insane. I ask to be connected for you. If I want your stuff, I'll ask for it.
Right. I mean, that's called opting in to your newsletter or something.
Exactly.
And in this day and age of 2015, if people don't know that that is, one, illegal in the United States, and I think
Canada, huge
in Canada too.
Yeah.
And two, it's considered spam. How do people not know that now? But then I'm just getting up on my high horse here too. So.
I know, me too. There's some practices on LinkedIn that just drive. I've got almost 30,000 I keep deleting people so I can accept more folks in. I have 30,000 people on my LinkedIn and only 10,000 on my email list, which is a double opt-in. I would love to port those people over, but they didn't ask for it. And I give them plenty of opportunity in my connections to sign up for my newsletter list. So if they haven't signed up for it, they probably don't want it, And so, And here's the other one I
And
saw
maybe they
the other
haven't
day.
found the right thing yet that
Yeah,
they want
yeah,
to opt in for. It doesn't mean they don't
yeah,
want to connect with you. They just don't
yeah.
want to get more email.
Exactly, because I think our world is noisy enough, Yeah. Oh.
So what's the other thing you were going to say?
Oh yeah, so this one, my assistant sent it to me the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, the cojones. So apparently someone from USB invited me to connect, and his summary section was a disclaimer saying, if you connect to me, you are essentially giving me permission to use your contact information, not only for my own USB practice, but for USB corporate, which is which is in bad taste and breaks so many financial compliance issues I can't even begin. Like, I think if USB knew he was doing that, they would, I don't think he'd have a job anymore. Um,
What
so,
about LinkedIn? LinkedIn should
yeah.
be cracking down on that too. Can you report people to LinkedIn? I mean, is that
Yeah, so
something that you can
we
do?
did that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
LinkedIn itself isn't terribly active in monitoring its own network. It relies upon us to monitor our network. So, yeah,
Okay.
if someone has sent you an ill-timed spam-like letter, saying, hey, we've got this product, that's one thing. That's just bad taste. But something like that, or marriage proposals, or the famous, I cannot tell you how many times I've had $50 million from some long-lost relative sitting for me at a bank in Zurich, if I just give them my password. And then for speakers now, there's a whole other new scam going along. So anything like that that's clearly spam, or the profile is clearly a fake profile, it is up to us to be social media narcs and totally report those people. Yeah,
Okay.
totally report those people. Absolutely. There's a drop-down box besides the send in mail, and you can report them or block them completely. I always block, and sometimes I report as well if
Right.
it's clearly fake, or you know
Okay.
pretty sure not that many princes want to marry me. You
Yeah.
know.
Oh well, I don't know why not. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to talk about before we wrap up because this is, like I said, I went over 30 minutes, but there's one really big thing that we haven't really covered, as you mentioned it, is LinkedIn Pulse, the publishing
Yes.
platform.
Yes.
That seems to be like the hot new, thing.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
everybody's jumping on the publishing thing there. I'm
Yes.
using it not that much, but, a little bit. So are there some best practices? How do we get people to read our stuff? I know this could be a whole class. So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
some
Well, I'll give you
top
some of
tips.
the top 10. First of all, LinkedIn did an excellent job of hiding publisher. Like, Pulse is found under interest, so the actual channels where you can read content is pretty easy
Mhm.
to find. But publisher itself is one teeny tiny pen. It's the
Yeah.
gray pen in the update box. So if you didn't know that, you would never know where to go to get and start publishing content. So that's the first thing. They've done a pretty good job of lining up what big picture, and then you have the ability to do some minor formatting,
Hmm.
embed video. So there's a fair amount. Think of it as like WordPress 101, right? Or WordPress Lite. Um, you can absolutely repurpose content you've already created as long as it's still relevant and would be of interest to your audience. I see a lot of people doing sales pitches,
Yeah.
and that's gag worthy in my opinion, and no one reads it, no one shares it, so why would you? There are some groups out there that's kind of like, you share mine, I'll share yours. Um, what I like, there's a couple things I like. First of all, you should follow, really the expert in this is the one I was talking about later who wrote about SWAM, is John White. So follow John. I know it's kind of a nebulous name, but he's a real person. Follow John White on LinkedIn. He has excellent posts, and just he leads by example. You can just look at his posts and go, oh, that's what I should do. Have arresting visuals that will help with shares. Don't write about LinkedIn. If you actually write about LinkedIn on a LinkedIn Pulse feature, you'll never get featured. You'll never get into a channel, which is simply LinkedIn. There's editors who will physically take your post and shunt it over to Pulse. So
So
real
so
human
why is
beings do that.
yeah, so why don't they want you to write about LinkedIn? I've seen
Link,
people doing it, so
yeah. People do. I do it because that is my platform. I just know I'm never probably going to get more than 10,000 views on any given day. LinkedIn has this policy. I get it, and it's like swam. It's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to affiliate with anyone, right? So they don't want to affiliate with anyone teaching or training on LinkedIn other than their own employees. So
got
no
it.
matter what it is, yeah. So they're not gonna support that. However, anything else is kind of fair game. The more niche your market, the more weird your market. Um,
I'll bring this up just a minute.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. The better. Now, what I love, like I just John's latest article, what I love in there, he introduces, great picture. He introduces the article. The title, by the way, has keywords in it. SWAM being one of them. He introduces what he's going to talk about, and then he has a little link for more features like this. You can click here because you can hyperlink, and he clicks the link takes you back into his posts page where all his posts live. So that's nice. It's redirecting you to other
Mhm.
content like that. And then he has the article, and then he has a nice video, and then he's kind of embedded his own ad. He's got a nice little image with a click here for more. And then so that takes you into actually, I think it's an email funnel for Career Toolbox. And then at the bottom, it has a little like, who is John White and what does he do, which has all the links to all his other social, and then another little ad, which he has created himself, which is free, which is just content really at the bottom. But mainly it's just helpful, useful content, and then redirecting to other areas of his
Right.
posts. The
So
ones
oh, sorry,
oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
I was just saying, his posts that have gotten the most shares, he has a post that got like 800,000 shares. It's actually a paper he wrote for his MBA. So kind of contrary to most blogging, which should be between 300 and 800 words, it seems like on LinkedIn that some of the more in-depth articles are actually getting viewed more and read more and shared more.
Hmm.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, Yvonne DeVita has a question, and I think relates to this because you said follow John.
Right.
And she asks, it says I have over 1,500 followers. Where did they come from? I never even knew I had them. And I think that is, followers are not the same as connections, right?
Well, they are actually
Oh,
above and beyond. So what LinkedIn did, I wish they hadn't done this, but all of your first level connections became followers. And
okay.
then, like for me, I can't really take that many. I have to delete people in order to accept more followers. So I've got like 32,000 followers, but I've only got 29,000 first level connections, which is way too much. Do not aspire to be like me. Way too many. So that allows people like me to share my content with more people than I'm actually connected to. But yes, when LinkedIn turned on Publisher, actually it was way before that. LinkedIn kind of basically converted all your connections into followers.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then above and beyond that, people can actually choose just to follow your content. Very similar to a Facebook page.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that some were automatic, but I kind of figured because you see
Yeah.
that little follow button that says, you know, follow this guy, whatever.
Yeah. So if you
Okay.
like their content, follow them. More like Twitter, really, than
Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they don't need to follow you back.
No, exactly.
Okay. So this has been a very rich conversation, and you have given us so many amazing tips and some insights to how to better use it. And of course, you do a lot of training around LinkedIn, and there's only so much you can cover in a short time like this. But so I want to get off of LinkedIn now, and
Okay.
what I typically do with my guests, because this is about adventures in disability, because it's all a big adventure, this business thing, is
Exactly.
if you could share with us your most memorable adventure. And again, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be travel, whatever. Whatever your biggest adventure has been.
I've had a ton of them, good ones, bad ones, but this is I like this one because it was kind of a sucky thing that happened, and it you look for the silver linings. So I was invited to go speak at Engage Mexico in Puerto Vallarta year and a half ago. And, Andrea Vall was speaking there, and Jamie Turner, and Lon Safco, and Fernando Labista, and, big names in our world. So I'm like, okay, sure, of course I'm going to go. And so we all got there, and there were some issues, but so can we just put we're just have you put we're just going to have you put the room on your credit cards for right now. It was all inclusive place anyway. It was gorgeous, but we'll take care of it. And yeah, I know we were going to reimburse you for your flights. We're just one of the checks hasn't cleared yet, but as soon as it does, we're going to pay you. And anyway, you can see where this is going. Not only did we not get paid for the event, we ended up footing the bill for our own travel and our hotel too, which I haven't done in a long time. So. Yeah, that sucked. However, I got to hang out and share trials and tribulations with Jamie and Lon and Andrea and their wonderful spouses. And I got to drink from a $1,000 bottle of tequila, and the wine flowed freely. And it was the first tequila panel I'd ever done, in that all the speakers were, social media panel, we're all lined up, and the person who asked the question, as well as the speaker who answered the question, had to take a shot of tequila. So first time we've ever done that. And it was, did I mention, 9 o'clock in the morning. Brian Massey was there as well. It was insane. It was so much freaking fun. I mean, I would pay the $4,000 or $5,000 that I lost. I would have paid that just to hang out with these people. I mean, and I mean, now we're like this, right? And so, but we could have been really sour about it. We could have, it could have been a bad experience. It ended up being just, take what you can from the event, make the relationships that you can make, create the memories that you can create, and just remember the good stuff. So despite everything, it was quite the adventure, and I'm so glad I did it. I was actually over at Jamie's house in Atlanta for dinner the other day, and Dana, Jamie, and I were talking, Dana's his wife, and we're talking about that night, and he said, that last dinner that we all went to was like one of the best dinners I've ever had in my entire life, and the view was incredible, and the company was wonderful, and the $1,000 tequila was not too shabby, and we were just thinking, wow, like, you can't pay. Well, apparently you can. Right. You can, but you really can't pay for experiences like that. So it was a blessing.
Well, wise advice, and it sounds like it was definitely a grand adventure. And I appreciate the turning the mind frame around it, or the mindset around it, that you embrace what's happening and just go with it, because sometimes you can't control what's going to happen, and make it good. So, where can everybody find you?
Sure.
On LinkedIn, obviously.
Yeah, LinkedIn. If you invite me to connect, just say I heard you on the Hangout, because otherwise, my assistant, who's actually doing this for me now, thank you, Nicole, she may not accept you into my network just because I'm at my limit. But if you tell her that you listen to the Hangout or something like that, no problem. We'll definitely get you there. We do a LinkedIn chat every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you're on Twitter, it's literally hashtag LinkedIn chat. I use Twubs. Twubs.com/LinkedIn chat. I am actually traveling right now, so I've got moderators and guests who are coming in and running it for me. Great place for you to engage with other LinkedIn experts and learn about LinkedIn. We've got our LinkedIn Experts community group. We've got our link chat group on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn chat, because we're not allowed to say that, but link chat. And then I'm at LinkedIn Expert, both on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And then my website is linkedintobusiness.com. And if you actually want more of this, we've got a free ebook and some free videos at b2blinkdintraining.com. So if you go to b2blinkdintraining.com, you have to pay with your name and your email address, but we'll send you an ebook and 2 training videos that are actually not sales pitches at all. They're absolutely chock full of advice on social selling and how to use LinkedIn for lead gen and all that kind of good stuff. So all available for you.
Perfect. You can get a plethora of information on how to use
all the
LinkedIn
info you ever wanted.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd like to say that definitely connect with Viveka and you know, do the LinkedIn chat or the tweet chat,
Yeah.
LinkedIn tweet
Well, it's
chat,
LinkedIn
whatever.
chat,
So
tweet chat. It's a tweet chat called LinkedIn chat. So you're absolutely
okay,
right.
okay, good. All right. So before we sign off, I want to give a shout out of thanks to Stepan Hovnanian for my new lower third for Adventures in
So
Visibility.
gorgeous.
He is my pal and volunteered to do that for me. I was so happy because what I created myself was not very good looking
Look
because
like mine.
I am
Look like
graphically
that one.
challenged. So thank you, Stepan, for that. Um, Also, just to remind you that you can get notice of updates or what's coming up next. If you go to adventuresinvisibility.com, you can sign up. So I'll let you know in advance of what's coming up. And also, Adventures in Visibility is now available as a podcast. So you can listen on the go and you can subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, whichever one you like the best. Go to adventuresinvisibilitypodcast.com. Viveka, thank you so much for being here with me today. It was so much fun, and I look forward to seeing you at Social Media Marketing World
Yay, I
in
know, that's
2 weeks.
awesome.
2 weeks.
Woo!
I can't believe
I
it's
know
already
it.
here. So I'm looking forward to that, and I know that some of the people who are on watching here today are also going to be there, so they can hurl with us.
Yes.
And that would be hang out in real life for those of you
Yes,
who don't
as
know. It took
opposed
me
to
a while,
play.
but yeah, it's not hurling, it's hurl. Hang
Earl.
out in real life.
Girl.
So exactly. Hurl like girl. That's
Girl
it.
like girl.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, everyone. Have an adventurous day and thank you for being with us.
Thanks.